Joining us now is Jordan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, Ayman Safadi. Minister, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
There's death on both sides, and aside from Egypt, in, of course, Camp David, Jordan and Aqaba, I was there, is the most important ally, the second ally, of course, the late King Hussein. So let me ask you about your powerful speech yesterday. First of all, the king in Cairo, King Abdullah, was very strong in describing what he described as collective punishment against the people of Gaza because of the siege, because of the hold-up on the aid. And the aid was held up also by Hamas and by Egypt. So there was it was a three-way complicated process. But you had a powerful speech yesterday. Queen Rania also spoke out about collective punishment. Unusual for her to speak out, very strongly in an interview on CNN. So I want to ask you, from your perspective, what needs to be done?
Thank you so much. And again, unusual speeches because of the terrible, unusual reality with which we are all faced. There's a lot of frustration out there. His Majesty has spent his whole 25 years of service trying to work for peace, building on the legacy of his late father, King Hussein, as he said. So we're a country that has invested so much for peace because we knew and we know that only peace would not allow those horrific images that we just saw, you and I, from haunting the lives of everybody in the region. So it is a genuine call that enough is enough, that we've got to accept once and for all that violence and war will not secure Israelis, will not secure Palestinians, that only peace would do so. So we're living that day in, day out. And ultimately, unless we all acknowledge the humanity of the other, unless we all acknowledge that the pain that you just put on your screen is a real pain, that unless we see the pain of the other, both sides, then we're going to be falling deeper into this abyss.
How can Israel not respond? The President of the United States, as well as Secretary Blinken, have both said that Israel has an obligation, a duty to respond to what happened to Israel.
Look, I think the pictures you just played would speak more eloquently than any of us. Is this self-defense? Is killing 6,500 people self-defense? Is denying people their right to water and medicine self-defense? Is destroying over 170,000 homes is defense? Look, the wasteland that Israel is reducing Gaza to now is not going to produce the protection that Israel and that Palestinians need. There needs to be self-restraint. The war has rules. And again, the sad reality is the more death you see from both sides, the more hatred there is, the more difficult our job to bring about peace that both Palestinians and Israelis deserve. I mean, nobody in their right mind, no human being, would not but condemn those horrific images of death on both sides, Israeli and Palestinians. So I think there is rage and there is anger, but do we allow rage to determine the future of the region? Do we allow rage to add to the cycle of violence that have haunted this region for so long? Or do we say, let's all bite the pain and let's all focus on making sure that it does not happen ever again? And the only way it will not ever happen again if we reach a peace on the basis of two-state solution, and as His Majesty said in Cairo, so that between the river and the sea, you have peace and you have two states.
Hamas's charter is against a two-state solution because they don't recognize Israel's right to exist. So how can Israel remove Hamas as the government, get rid of its leaders, and try to save the lives of as many people as they can? How can they have an exit strategy, some way to live next door to a Hamas-led enclave?
Look, I'm going to be quite frank here, because the seriousness and the horrific scenes that we're seeing and the pain that we're seeing demands that all of us speak the truth. We've got to put things in context. Why did we get to where we are now? How many times have we warned that the absence of horizons, the absence of any real chances for a political solution that will again fulfill the legitimate rights of both people is going to drive us into the abyss? And it did. We are exactly in the space that we've worked for so long and so hard not to be in. So I mean, just to answer your question, I think offer an alternative, offer people hope. By the end of the day, whether you're Palestinian or Israeli, mother or father, you just want to live peacefully and put food on the table for your kids. Offer a different alternative. Palestinians themselves would say, we want to live in peace, we don't want violence. So that is what needs to be done, and I think we've got to put things in context, and putting things in context is in no way justifying what happened. Let's be clear on that. Nobody would justify what happened. But we have to learn from the past so that we make sure the future is not just another play of that history.
Is France's President Macron is in Amman today. He was in Israel before that. He's proposing a coalition of the anti-ISIS coalition, the coalition of fighters that are in Iraq and Syria, which includes Americans and a multinational force in Gaza. Is that an option?
It is not. We need a coalition for peace, to be honest. Instead of sending arms to the region, let's send delegations that will get the parties back to the table.
Can that be done with the Netanyahu government, since they say they agree with a two-state solution, but they keep expanding settlements?
I think we're hoping that now, with the enormity of the tragedy that has befallen both the Palestinians and the Israelis, that people would speak up and will say, don't have our lives hostage to political ambitions and to political aspirations. Think, instead of sending weapons, let's send peace delegations. Support Israel, but you are not supporting Israel by supporting this war. And I'm not saying you, I'm talking to those who are. Support Israel by making sure that we have a path to peace. That is how we protect Israelis who want to live in peace, and that's how we protect Palestinians who want to live in peace.
And how do you stop this from widening with Iran's backed Hezbollah in the north?
We're all working hard on that, because we know if that happens, then it's doomsday for a lot of us in the region. We should not allow that to happen. But again, if this war continues, if more horrific images come, if we play into the space to which we've been pushed, if we don't create our own space for peace, the risk of this war expanding are real. And who's going to pay the price? The people who are paying the price now, the civilians, the innocent, the women, the kids, and the children.
Mr. Minister, I appreciate your being here.
Thank you so
much.
much.
It's an honor to have you right here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.